Hello everyone and welcome to my newest video. Bear with me over my voice. I am in the process of losing my voice right now, so there may be some pauses and breaks in the video, but just bear with me. And I can start off by saying that this video doesn't really pertain to the outdoors or survival or anything, but is mainly a video on a flaw that I see in people's bug out bags. And that is what to bring for leisure and downtime. You know there's going to be a lot of downtime after the vital camp chores are done, and you're probably going to want to bring something to do. You might choose a book or a simple deck of cards. I prefer cards. You could play a game like Crazy Eights, in which really a simple game, and I can explain it real quick. Everybody, after you shuffle the cards, everybody gets 8 cards each, and you flip one card over, and the person to the left of the dealer draws a card and then has to match either suit or number of the card that is flipped over. For instance, if there's a 7 of diamonds flipped over, then you have to either lay a 7 or a diamond. Really simple. And if you don't have a 7 or a diamond, then you have to draw until you do have a 7 or a diamond that you can play. It's really similar to Uno, but with cards. In fact, I call it Card Uno. And I must say that 8s are wild, and that's why they call it Crazy Eights. But it's just a really a fun game. There's not much strategy involved. It's more a game of luck, but it's fun nonetheless. And if you're not into cards, you're definitely not going to want to bring your PSP or anything like that, because it contains batteries, and you're going to have to use any batteries you can get a hold of for other things. And you don't want to bring your Monopoly board, because that just takes up too much space. But another option is a game which is very miniature, which actually fits within a regular playing deck. The whole game and extra things can fit in this deck, believe it or not. I'm going to open this and show you what I have packed in here along with the game. There's a bandage, not a lot of space on that. There's some antibacterial moist wipes packed in there. And a pack of chicken broth, chicken bouillon. So that is in there besides the game. And the game is just composed of 16 cards is all. It's called Love Letter. And there are 16 cards and this small bag of wooden squares, little tokens that you play for. And like I said, the game is composed of 16 cards, different cards, and I can read the rules and try to explain it a little. Again, it's called Love Letter, and the rules go as follow. Shuffle the 16 cards and remove the top card of the deck. So you're always going to shuffle the cards and remove the top card. Now in a 2-player game, it says in 2-player games, take 3 more cards from the deck. So really simple. Shuffle the cards, take the top card out, and if there's 2 players, take out 3 more. Alright, so each player draws one card from the deck, and whoever dated recently goes first. So if you're married, you might not go first very often. Now, taking a turn. Draw the top card from the deck. So when it's your turn, you draw a card. Simple. So you would have 2 cards in your hand. The one you were dealt originally and the one you have just drawn. Then it says, then choose one of the 2 cards in your hand and discard it face up in front of you. So you're going to discard one of them. Then on that card is an effect. So it says, apply any effect on the card you have discarded. Then the player to the left takes a turn. Now each card, like I said, has a different effect. For instance, the priest. You lay this, and its effect says, look at another player's hand. So if you had these 2 cards, for instance, this one says trade hands with a player of your choice, or look at the player's hand. Look at another player's hand. So you would have the option to trade hands with another player if you lay this card, or look at another player's hand if you have this card. Now it's a real simple game. And this card here, the guard card, says name a non-guard card and choose another player. If that player has that card, he or she is out of the round. So they lose that little mini game. Each round is like a little mini game. Now, after that it says end of a round. A round ends if the deck is empty at the end of a turn or one player remains in the game. So, at the end of a round ends when the deck runs out, basically. And the player with the highest ranked card, there's little numbers on the cards too, and when the deck runs out, the player with the highest card number left in their hand wins. And if you had the princess, you will win automatically. But the princess also says if you discard this card, you are out of the round. So if you draw the princess, you have to hang on to it for the length of the game, which is a disadvantage. But if you end up with it at the end of a game, you will win. So now there's a lot of strategy involved in this game, believe it or not, for only being 16 cards. Now, it says, a round ends if the deck is empty at the end of a turn or one player remains in the game. So obviously, if one player remains in the game, you win. All players in the round must reveal their hands. The player with the highest ranked person wins the round and receives a token of affection. Now, let me see here. Alright, now say you have the priest in your hand, as well as the guard. This is the neat thing about the game. If you have the priest in your hand and the guard, they're only worth 2 and 1 points. So if you end up at the end of the game with them your chances of winning aren't good because you have the two lowest cards in the game. But this one says look at another player's hand, and this one says name a non-guard card hand and choose another player. If that player has that card, he or she is out of the round. So if you have these two cards in your hand and you lay the priest on your turn, you can look at the player's hand, and if he survived the next turn, then you would draw a card, and it pretty much wouldn't matter what card you drew because you have the guard card, which you know what is in the player's, what the player's hand is, and you could just lay this card and win the hand that way. So, and these cards, they have other effects too, so you know, you're not just gonna play for the priest and the guard, or you know, there's different things involved. So just a really fun strategy game with only 16 cards, and I highly recommend Love Letter. Now it comes in a nice velvet pouch like this, but just for space reasons and to protect it a little more, I like to keep it in this card box. Now if you really like cards and enjoy euchre, you could even make up a euchre deck and pack it along in the same box with a copy of Love Letter. So it would all fit in the same box. You could have two games in one box of cards. Pretty neat. And of course there's other options like dominoes are pretty small to bring, or you know, even tic-tac-toe and other paper games are fun. But like I said, a lot of people neglect to bring something for leisure activities, and I think that is a very important aspect of living. You're not going to want to live very hard or long if you're not having any fun, you know. And I guess that's all I can say about cards and the Love Letter card game. I think I explained, this is my second time reshooting this video. I had to reshoot it because of some other things that were going on in the background that just made it really bad. But like I said, I don't have much more to say about it other than, well, I guess that's all I have to say about the Love Letter game and cards and gaming for Bug Out. And I guess that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks.